classwork, I'm going to explain it. So for this classwork is about structural isomerism. For structural isomerism, there are three types of structural isomerism that you need to know. Number one is chain isomerism. What does it mean by chain isomerism here? This isomer arises because the possibility of branching in carbon chain. So if you have C4H10, there are two possible structure that you can draw. You can make straight chain only for, straight chain for carbon, or you can make it three carbon as the main chain with one branch. Okay, so this is the example of chain isomerism. And you can see here on my screen that the main chain is different. For this, we got 4, and for this, we got 3 only. Okay, and the chemical formula is the same, C4H10, and this one also C4H10. And after that, number 2 is position isomerism. So here you can see the number 2 type of isomerism is position. What does it mean by position here? For position isomerism, usually it is related to functional group or any atom except carbon and hydrogen. For example, here is the case is bromine. Okay, the atom is bromine, and the position of bromine here is important. For this question and for this compound, we got 2 bromopropane. Bromine is attached to carbon number 2, and we indicate that position by using this number. So 2 bromopropane. Okay, 2 because bromine is attached to carbon number 2, and for this compound it is 1 bromopropane because bromine is attached to carbon number 1. And for labeling carbon, it's up to you. You can label here 1, 2, 3 here. You can write here 1, 2, 3. The keyword is your atom, or we can also say branch, will get smaller number. That's the rule. So if it is possible, branch or any atom or functional group, they will get smaller number. So when you label it, give the smaller number to them. So you can adjust. Maybe you can start from left, or maybe you can start from right. It's up to you, as long it gives smaller number. That's why, for example, you do not know, you label the carbon from here. This is 1, this is 2, and this is 3. This is not correct, because if you label from left, your bromine will get number 3. Okay, and that's not fit with the requirement. There is a rule, okay, for that. And then what else? That's it. It's not really difficult. Just check the label, okay, and give smaller number for branch. Next, the last one is functional group. For functional group, in IGCSE question, based on my experience, they only ask you about carboxylic acid and ester. That's it. They don't ask you about aldehyde and ketone or alcohol with ether. The only compound they ask you is these two. Okay, carboxylic acid and ester. They are functional group, and they are functional group isomerism, because if you notice here, the chemical formula is the same. Both have C3H6O2. The difference is the functional group. One is ester and other is carboxylic acid. For carboxylic acid, this is the problem that I found in your document, some student. You give 2 double bond. We only have 1 double bond here. This is not correct. Only 1 double bond here. So double bond only between carbon and oxygen. Between carbon and oxygen, the second oxygen here is single bond. And then for ester, this is the functional group. Okay, that's the functional group for ester. And they are functional group isomerism. They have the same chemical formula, but they have different functional group. Okay, let's see the question here. For the first question here, you are going to name. Okay, if you are going to name the compound, there are three steps that you need to follow. Number one is identify the longest chain. That's what you need to do. Identify the longest chain. And what do you think, Rafi? Based on the picture, what is the longest chain? How many? Do you have any idea? The longest chain? Can we choose like this?
Is it is it five?
Five. Do you know how to get five? How do you get five?
The longest amount of chain that has a carbon.
Okay, that has carbon, yeah, and it must be continuous chain, yeah, like this. That we got five here, and then what does it mean by this? This the function. This the branch, yeah. We got two branch. Okay, so after you identify the longest chain, what you need to do is choose starting point. Starting point. If you have functional group, your functional group will get smaller number. Functional group must get smaller number. So the starting point will be from here, from A. Because if you start from A, this carbon will get number one, and this carbon is the functional group. That's the rule. Number three here, number four, and number five here. After you identify the longest chain, you choose the starting point. You need to know the order. So what you need to write first is the branch, okay? Because we got two branches, we need to use prefix, and the prefix is D, and then we also need to state the position in which the branch is connected to. We got CH3 here, and this CH3 is attached to carbon number 2, and this CH3 is attached to carbon number 3. That's why the name for this carbon is 2.3, because we need to state the position of the branch, and after that dash, and then we need to use prefix D to indicate we got two branches. And then what's the name? The name of the branch is methyl. Why is it methyl? This is very simple. If you notice the name of the first four family of alkane, it starts with a CH4. It is methane. And what we have here as a branch is CH3. So alkane minus one hydrogen will become alkyl. And for the name, you just need to change the ending. So if you have methane, it will become methyl. If you have ethane, it will become ethyl. If you have propane, it will become propyl. Okay, so the name is 2.3 dimethyl. And what's the main chain? The main chain is 5 carbon. 5 carbon, what's the name, Rafi, if we got 5 carbon? Pentane, right? So pentane. Because the functional group is carboxylic acid, we change the ending. So the name is pentanoic acid. Pentanoic acid. Okay, so the name is 2.3 dash dimethyl pentanoic acid. Question on that?
But is the function group always the OH?
The functional group is not always. The functional group is COOH. This is the functional group. COOH.
Oh,
This is the functional group. And this functional group will always get smaller number. So you need to start from this point. You got it? Question?
okay.
Okay. Next, number 2. For number 2, can you identify the longest chain?
Is it 5 again?
5 again, yeah. Can we start from here? What do you think? Is that the longest chain?
Oh yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that is the longest chain, yeah. Okay, Rafi, can you continue? What's the name of our branch here? We got 4 carbon, so the name is pentane again.
Pentane.
Yes, and then how about the branch? What's the name of the branch? Pentane. What's the name of the branch? What is this? And what is this?
Uh, are we supposed to start from CH3 on the
Yeah,
right?
CH3. What's the name? Methyl. How about this? What's the
Oh, yeah.
name? You got C2H5. What is the name? Remember the first 4 alkane. Methane, ethane, propane, butane. You remove one hydrogen, it will become alkyl. So methyl, ethyl, propyl, butyl. So what is it? We got 2 carbon, 5 hydrogen. What's the name? Ethyl. Okay, so we got ethyl. And then step number 2, you choose starting point. You can choose from A or you can choose from B. If you choose from A, what's the consequence? Methyl will get number 2 because number 1 is here, number 2, number 3 is here. Okay, number 3 is here. How about if you start from B? Number 1 here, number 2 here, number 3 the same, number 4. Okay, so if you start from A, your branch will get number 2 and number 3. If you start from B, your branch will get number 3 and number 4. And this is the preferable. So we start from
Yeah.
A because it will give smaller number. So what's the name? We got ethyl and methyl. Based on the rules, there's also another rules. It is the alphabetically order. So if you have different branch, you must write in the correct order based on the alphabet. Okay, so you start with ethyl. So 3 dash ethyl and then dash. What is the second branch? It is methyl, and this methyl is attached to carbon number 2. That's why the name is 2, and then methyl. The number is 2, and then the name is methyl. How many carbon do we have as a main chain?
Pentane.
Pentane. Okay, that's the name. Any question? 3 ethyl
Uh,
dash 2 methyl pentane. 2.3. 2.3 dimethyl pentanoic acid. For this question, it is 3 ethyl, 2 methyl, pentane. Is that clear?
yeah.
Okay.
How do
The
you know
last.
it's 2.3 rather than
Okay, good question. Why we write 2.3? Because you got the same branch, the same, the same. Because it is the same, you need to
oh,
write it like this, and with prefix, yeah, with prefix. D indicate there are two identical branch, and this number is combined because they are the same, 2.3. And why we use
okay.
separate number here? Because they are different. One is methyl and one is ethyl, and we separate them also by using dash line.